I'm the operator with my pocket calculator.
Hi guys, welcome to week 4. So this week, what do you have to do? There are a couple of different things you're going to be doing this week. First of all, your readings are going to be chapters 5 and 6. Hopefully the books have come in at this point and you all have your books. If not, let me know and I'll scan the chapters as soon as I can and get those up for you. But all the books should be in at this point, or so I've been told. So after that, you're going to be doing your discussion, which correspond to the readings. Now, these chapters this week are pretty awesome. The book does a pretty good job of overviewing your topics. Chapter 5 is going to be your reading and information literacy chapter. And you're probably saying, well, I don't need to read the reading chapter. I know all about that. And you're probably saying, information literacy, what is that? But information literacy is pretty awesome because it's going to teach you how, or give you an overview of how to be a better researcher. And that's what information literacy is. It's being information literate in terms of finding and evaluating information. So for me specifically, I'm going to say this is important because I'm a librarian, and that's what librarians do. They help you become better information literate students. So anytime you need help with research, that's the place to go at Georgia Highlands, is the library. And fortunately, our library at GHC has a lot of ways that you as distance learners can get in touch with them without actually even going into the building. They have an online chat that you can use. You can text message them, you can email them questions, all that sort of thing. So take advantage of those things. And corresponding with the information literacy portion of that, of course you have the discussion this week that's going to touch on that, but you also have your Bag of Skills Part 2 that you can start working on that has a component there, the 21st century researcher, that will help you kind of apply some of that knowledge. So if you need any help doing that assignment, I encourage you to use one of those library services that I mentioned, the chat or an email, to get in touch with the librarian and get them to help you with that. But the chapter 2 does a pretty good job of giving you an overview of how to evaluate and search for information. Pay particular attention in both of these chapters to the boxes that they have down at the bottom. Some people skip those. Don't skip those this week if you skip them at all, because they're going to give you interesting little tips you can use to be better searchers and better evaluators and critical readers. So this chapter, it's about reading, but really what it should say is critical reading, because it's how to more effectively read things, to get more out of them, and to get more out of them more easily. So for instance, you're probably going to learn about things like looking at the table of contents, reading the headers. I know something that I do when I'm going through reading material first. I just read the if there's a header, something in bold that is defining a section, I read all those first. Then I go back through and read all the first sentences in each paragraph, the topic sentences, and then go back and read through. So you may want to try some things like that, and this chapter is going to go over things like that. And the next chapter, these really go well together. The next chapter, chapter 6, listening and taking notes, is sort of the same thing. It's going to be critical listening. So you're going to go from it's going to hopefully help you become a better listener, and it's going to give you some key tips for that. And don't ignore those boxes in this chapter either, because they've got some good information. And note-taking is going to be the same thing. It's not just note-taking, really. It's becoming a better note-taker, becoming a critical note-taker. So you don't want to walk into a class and be the person writing down every single word the professor says, but you also don't want to be the person who's not taking any notes ever. This will sort of give you a better middle ground so you don't hit those two extremes. And don't ignore the boxes. They've got some interesting tips for you throughout this chapter. So also, I kind of touched on it, but you should be done with your Bag of Skills Part 1. Probably not now, but in a few hours. It's only 3:18 on Sunday, so you've still got a few more hours to do that. But after you get done with that, go ahead and Monday or sometime this week, go ahead and get started on Bag of Skills Part 2, because that's going to be due this month, at the end of this month. I think it's the 28th, check your syllabus to make sure. But it's going to be due pretty soon. And that's got 4 challenges. And they also, just like the part 1, it's going to correspond to the themes of the weeks that we're having. So challenge 1, for instance, and this one, as I mentioned, is something related to becoming a better researcher, the 21st Century Researcher Challenge. So they correspond, as do the discussions and the chapter readings. They all sort of go together. But as far as discussions, they're not due until Tuesday. Get them in before that if you want to. So I'll probably go ahead and give you feedback on those on Tuesday or Wednesday, probably Wednesday, and do a summary of those discussions on Wednesday and post the video in the news item. So I think that's it for this week. Hopefully you had a good time doing your Bag of Skills assignments. If you have any questions, post them to the FAQ so everybody can see them and I can answer them there. But that's pretty much it. Have a good week, and let me know if there's anything you need.